What is going on, guys? A large quantity of Super Bowl MVPs have or will be enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. People like Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and a lot of others. There are many other members from the Hall of Very Good that also captured MVP honors. Guys like Jake Scott, Phil Simms, and Ottis Anderson. And then there are some guys who are inconsistent or simply not impactful throughout their playing careers. But these 9 guys stepped up big time on the grandest stage, earning Super Bowl MVP honors for their efforts. Here are the worst players to win Super Bowl MVP. Number 9, Nick Foles. The guy looked to be nothing more than a one-year wonder. Foles tossed 27 touchdowns against just 2 interceptions in 2013, leading the Eagles to an NFC division title. But Foles' 2014 season was cut short due to injury, and he was later traded to the St. Louis Rams. After struggling as their starter for 11 games, Foles was let go, and he opted to join the Kansas City Chiefs as Alex Smith's backup in 2016. Foles returned to Philly in 2017, but he had to step in as starter when Carson Wentz went down with an ACL tear in Week 14. Foles guided the underdog Eagles to Super Bowl 52, where they met the defending champion New England Patriots. Many expected Philly's magical run to end at the hands of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Instead, Foles looked like a seasoned veteran who had already won multiple Super Bowls. He torched New England secondary all game long, throwing for 373 yards and 3 touchdowns while catching 1 touchdown pass on the famous Philly special. The Eagles won 41-33, and Foles was named MVP after leading the franchise to their first ever Super Bowl championship. Foles made 5 more starts for an injured Wentz in 2018, leading the Eagles back to the playoffs. But the fun ride in Philly ended after he signed a 4-year contract worth $88 million with the Jaguars. Of course, Foles struggled mightily in Duval County and eventually lost his starting job to Gardner Minshew. Foles will never be the Eagles starter again, and since he always struggles outside of their offense, it's safe to say that he'll be a career backup from here on out. But hey, a Super Bowl ring and an MVP award is pretty good for a guy who spent the majority of his career holding the clipboard. I mean, honestly, I would take that. I would retire, to be honest. I'd be like, no, I'm good. I got the MVP, I got the Super Bowl championship, the ring, I'm good. Number 8, Santonio Holmes. Drafted 25th overall by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2006, Holmes became a nice complement to Hines Ward and Heath Miller in the passing game. Holmes gave Pittsburgh some much-needed speed over the middle of the field, and he put up very solid numbers in the Steel City. Holmes recorded over 800 receiving yards in each of his first 3 seasons in Pittsburgh. His best year took place in 2009, where Holmes recorded 79 receptions for 1,248 yards and 5 touchdowns. That said, Holmes was never a Pro Bowler, and he only hit the 1,000-yard mark once in his career. Luckily for the Steelers, Holmes broke through with one of the greatest performances of his career when his team needed it the most. In Super Bowl 43 against the Arizona Cardinals, Holmes caught 9 passes for 131 yards and a touchdown. He set up the game-winning drive by catching a 40-yard pass before being tackled near the 5. 2 plays later, Roethlisberger made a pinpoint accurate throw to Holmes in the back of the end zone, and the latter made a jaw-dropping tiptoe catch to give Pittsburgh the lead. The defense held on for a 27-23 victory, and Holmes was rightfully named MVP for his efforts. Holmes was traded to the New York Jets in the 2010 season, but he never came close to repeating the success he had in Pittsburgh. Although the Super Bowl 43 MVP did enough to help the Jets reach the 2009 and 2010 AFC Championship games. So it's not like he was awful, he was just, not the best. He made some really good plays when it mattered most. No Pro Bowls and only 1 1,000-yard season, but the man was a Super Bowl champion and MVP. He was certainly not going to complain about how his career went down. I feel like if you hit a certain point, you reach Super Bowl champion and MVP, some people mentally, I think, are just like, all right, I've accomplished what I need to accomplish, and they're not going to give that effort that they were going to give. They kind of feel satisfied, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm saying. Moving on. Number 7, Desmond Howard. The 1991 Heisman Trophy winner was an okay wide receiver during his NFL playing career. Howard did most of his damage in the special teams game, though Howard made a lot of big plays for the Green Bay Packers. He was only a 1-time Pro Bowler in his career. It wasn't exactly a Devin Hester when it came to kick and punt returns, but he was solid. That said, as every Packer fan will tell you, Howard chose the perfect time to put up the best performance of his career. That would be Super Bowl 31, where Green Bay met the Drew Bledsoe-led Patriots. Howard recorded 154 kick return yards on just 4 opportunities. He also had 90 punt return yards on 6 attempts, but his 99-yard kickoff return touchdown in the 3rd quarter essentially put the game away, as well as who should win Super Bowl MVP. Howard's score helped the Packers build a 14-point lead, and the defense prevented New England from scoring again. Howard's performance ensured that he probably never had to buy a drink in Green Bay again. If life was that easy, huh? But aside from this performance, as well as his 2000 Pro Bowl season, there's not a whole lot to remember from Howard's his NFL career. Number 6, Joe Flacco. The Baltimore Ravens needed an average quarterback to complement their power rushing game and stingy defense, led by Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and Terrell Suggs. Joe Flacco fit the bill nicely after Baltimore took him 18th overall in 2008. Flacco never put up fancy stats. His career high in touchdowns is 27, and he only hit 4,000 passing yards once. But he was able to manage the game for Baltimore, and Flacco always stepped up in the postseason. Always. The Ravens made the AFC Championship in 2 of Flacco's first 4 seasons, but they lost on both occasions. However, they finally pulled through in 2012, defeating Tom Brady's Patriots in the AFC title game to punch a Super Bowl 47 ticket. Flacco entered the big game with 8 touchdowns against 0 interceptions in the 2012-13 postseason, and he picked up right where he left off in the big game, torching the San Francisco 49ers' fierce defense with 22 completions for 287 yards and 3 touchdowns. Flacco's Ravens performed a goal line stand for the ages near the end of the game, and Baltimore melted enough clock down to clinch their second Super Bowl in the 21st century. Flacco was unsurprisingly named Super Bowl MVP after his clutch performance. The Ravens rewarded their Super Bowl winning QB with a whopping 6-year extension worth $120.6 million, which obviously turned out to be a problem in the long run. But I mean, hey, the Ravens had to award Flacco, even though he never regained that magical form again. He left a lasting legacy in Baltimore as a Super Bowl 47 champion and MVP. It's hard to beat that. Number 5, Doug Williams. Williams was the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from 1978 to 82, and his numbers were something else in a different sort of way. He went 33, 33, and 1 as a starter, and he had 73 touchdowns against 73 interceptions. He should have just changed his name to Mr. 500. Following a short stint in the USFL, Williams joined the Washington Redskins in 1986. He saw practically 0 playing time that year, but Williams briefly took over the starting reins when number 1 quarterback Jay Schroeder suffered an injury in Week 1. Though Williams only made 2 starts that year, head coach Joe Gibbs decided to start him over Schroeder for the postseason. Williams did just enough to help the Redskins sneak through the NFC divisional round as well as a conference championship game. Williams led Washington to a Super Bowl 22 showdown against John Elway's high-flying Denver Broncos. But like everybody else on this list, Williams picked the perfect night for his career performance. Williams embarrassed Elway in the quarterback duel, going for 340 yards and 4 touchdowns on just 18 completions. The Redskins destroyed the Broncos by a final score of 42-10, and Williams was named Super Bowl MVP. But injuries as well as the rise of backup Mark Rypien led to Williams playing just 15 total games over the 1988 and 89 campaigns. Williams then decided to retire, and Mark led Washington to a Super Bowl 26 championship to cement dynasty status. Number 4, Deion Branch. During the early years of the New England Patriots dynasty, Tom Brady didn't have any grade A pass catchers to work with. His best receiver was Deion Branch, who was more suited to be a number 2 or 3 pass catcher. Branch only hit the 800-yard mark 3 times in his career, though he recorded 998 during the 2005 season. But you get the idea. Branch was solid, but far from a game changer. However, like so many of Bill Belichick's players over the years, Branch simply turned his game up a notch when the Patriots needed it most. The Patriots met Donovan McNabb and the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 39, and Brady was locked in with Branch from start to finish. Branch finished the game with 11 receptions and 133 yards. To put it into perspective, Brady had 236 passing yards that night. Only 103 of those yards were to guys not named Branch. Just think about that. Branch helped the Patriots move that ball consistently, and the defense kept McNabb and company in check for a 24-21 victory. The win gave the Patriots their 3rd Super Bowl in 4 years, and Branch was named Super Bowl 39 MVP. Branch finished his career with 518 receptions for 6,644 yards and 39 touchdowns. That's solid, but nothing spectacular. His name is still secured in NFL immortality because of that one big game, though. Number 3, Malcolm Smith. The Seahawks were carried by the Legion of Boom defense that consisted of Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, and Cam Chancellor. They also had tremendous supporting pieces in corner Brian Maxwell and pass rushers Michael Bennett and Cliff Averill. But it was Malcolm Smith who played hero not once, but twice during the Seahawks Super Bowl 48 run. Smith was the one who intercepted Colin Kaepernick's final pass after it was batted away by Richard Sherman in the end zone during the final seconds of the 2013 NFC Championship game. Smith's clutch performance didn't end there. In Super Bowl 48 against the Denver Broncos' record-setting offense, Smith recorded a 69-yard pick 6 off Peyton Manning. He also had 10 combined tackles and 1 forced fumble. The Seahawks blew out the Broncos 43-8, winning their first Super Bowl in franchise history. Smith was named the MVP, but he never repeated the magic again, and he has since bounced around from team to team. Number 2, Dexter Jackson. The 2002 Tampa Bay Buccaneers had one of the greatest defenses ever, led by future Hall of Famers Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp. The Broncos defense featured 5 first-team All-Pros, and their first year under head coach John Gruden, Tampa Bay allowed just 12.3 points per game. The Bucs met Gruden's old team, the Oakland Raiders. In Super Bowl 37, Tampa's opponent was led by 2002 MVP Rich Gannon and the greatest receiver ever, Jerry Rice. But Tampa Bay's defense dominated the Oakland offense all game long, sacking Gannon 5 times while recording as many interceptions off him. 5 interceptions in the Super Bowl. Yeah, this Tampa unit was nuts. But none of the Buccaneers' first-team All-Pros were named Super Bowl 37 MVP. Rather, it was safety Dexter Jackson, who had 2 interceptions in the game. Many were shocked to learn that Jackson had won that award. After all, Simeon Rice had 2 sacks and 1 forced fumble, and Dwight Smith had 2 pick-sixes in the contest. Surely Smith deserved it over Jackson, no? Hey, Jackson won't ever complain about it. The Super Bowl 37 championship and MVP honors were the defining moments of his career, which wasn't anything special outside of this memorable night. Number 1, Larry Brown. He wasn't a Pro Bowler, and he only played in the NFL for 8 years from 1991 to 98. That doesn't sound like somebody who would be enshrined in Super Bowl lore. Well, actually, cornerback Larry Brown was part of all 3 Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl championship teams in the 90s, and he played a monumental role in the 3rd one, when the Cowboys met the Steelers in Super Bowl 30, looking to cement dynasty status. Brown recorded 2 interceptions off of Steelers quarterback Neil O'Donnell, one in the 3rd quarter, and another in the 4th. Brown's heroics pays Dallas to a 27-17 victory, as they clinched their 5th Lombardi trophy in franchise history. Brown wasn't a true game changer by any means throughout his career, except for when the Cowboys really needed somebody to step up. And for all you kids out there, when it matters most, it matters most. Yeah. Who do you think is the worst player to win Super Bowl MVP honors? Join us in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. I make TikToks and YouTube and Instagram, wherever go find us. Subscribe to TPS because we post videos every day, and why would you not want more videos every day of us making video, me and Justin and everyone else making videos? Why would you not want that? Subscribe. Like this video too, because also, you know, just do that, please. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. I'll see you next time.
My knee.